joining us. Today we're going to talk about story making and characters. Now you will find in your Kids Connect resource pack 2 templates which I'm going to talk through just to give you a little bit of a better idea on how you might like to use the templates and how you might like to put some stories together for yourself. So the templates that I'm going to use are, the first one is our Creative Ideas story task. Okay, so with this template it gives you some options. The idea is that you look at the props, character and destination sheets. Okay, and this can help shape a story. So we've got a selection of characters that you could choose from on here already in the columns. So we've got a mom, we've got a superhero, we've got a firefighter, we've got an alien, a police officer, a fairy, older brother. So there's a few to choose from. Of course, you don't have to pick one of these, you can pick one of your own. So for me, for my short story, I picked the police officer on this occasion. And my prop is the laptop. Okay, so then there's also a destination column. So the destination that I've picked for my story is an alternative dimension. Okay, so I've got 3 things there already to start to shape and bring together a story. So the story that I've come up with, or the bones of the story that I've come up with, is as follows. There's a sheet at the back of this template that you can start to write your story on. So the police officer, Sally, I've called her, she was getting stuck into some work on her laptop. She had loads and loads to do, and her concentration was starting to drift a little bit. So she found herself Googling all sorts of other things that she was interested in. Suddenly, there was a strange sound humming in the background. She had no idea what was going on. Then there was this amazing big bright light. It began to shine right out of her computer. So bright that she had to close her eyes. But when she opened them again, she had no idea where she was. She looked around at the dark soil under her feet and realised she was in fact on the planet Mars. She'd actually just been Googling Mars. How had this happened? So you kind of get the idea. That's where I've left that story for now. So you can make up anything from there on, but this particular task will help you think about what character is in the story and what prop the character might have, and that can be a number of things. When you look at your chart, there's a few to choose from, but you'll probably be able to come up with lots more. And then a destination for your story as well, so that you've got at least 3 things to start giving you clues to pull a story together. So that's the first worksheet that you can do either at home by yourself, but we will be doing some of these at our activity days when we organise those in the next couple of months. So the second worksheet, so that one's the Creative Ideas story task. Okay, and this next one is creative ideas story planning. So this is a little bit more detail to add and a slightly different way of thinking about how to plan a story. So at the front of this worksheet, the first page, it asks you to think about who your characters might be in your story, your main characters in the story. So in my story, I've got three main characters. I've got Pom, Aid and Lucy. And where they live is a very special land under the sea called Shoreline. Okay, so that already starts to paint a picture about my story. Where does the story take place? This is the setting on the workshop sheet, the setting. Now obviously I've already said, haven't I, that the story does take place under the sea, but later on in the story these characters are going to be visiting land as well. So what can be seen in this place? Well, it's a real place of beauty where Pom, Aid and Lucy live, with a number of different creatures that we wouldn't recognise as the creatures that we meet on our planet. It also talks about what can be heard there, so what sounds. So I've said bird song, because that kind of gave me a sense of atmosphere, even though it's under the sea. But remember, it is under the sea, so it doesn't have to be in the sea, although I do think they've got a few special swimming skills as well. So I've also said the sound of the ocean, because they will hear the sound of the ocean from their land as it's under the sea. The last question, how might your characters feel there? Well, these characters are quite happy on their land. It's all they've ever known really, and they feel quite safe in their under the sea world. However, there's got to be a story, hasn't there? So, as I've already started to think about the land in which they live, this is the second sheet of the second sheet. So here, it asks you to think about what special words you could use in describing words to use in your story. So I've just wrote down 3 words. You will be able to find lots of other words, I'm sure. I've wrote down spectacular, because spectacular to me just means wow, amazing and beautiful, because that is how I picture this land where they live. Now there's another bit on the workshop, which connectives can you use? Now this is about story writing, so it's how you can start new sentences in your story. So here are some words that can be used to connect your story. So we've got and, I bet you know that one. We've got next, because that would be a good way of beginning another sentence. Next, over the hill. We've got because, which can also link two things together. Moreover, as well as, also, furthermore, and later. Some of those words you've probably heard, you've probably used them in stories. So the next little bit here is to just kind of get some of your ideas on paper, what might be happening in your story and what your setting of your story might be like. So all I've done really is I've used some bright colours, because I see this land as being bright and beautiful with many different plants. So as you can see, I've not done much with my picture yet, but I've begun just drawing a little bit some of the colours that might be there on the land. So now we're getting to the different sections of the story. We've got the last sheet, which is beginning, middle, sorting out a problem, and the end. So we've just used this structure so you can consider how a story might be put together. So in my story, the beginning is, where does your story start? 3 friends sitting on a hill. And what are they doing? They're having a picnic. And who is there? Pom, Aid and Lucy. The middle part of my story, is there a problem? What problem is going on? So they want to explore the world beyond, because they've never ever been anywhere else. So what happens? They decide to go on a journey to see how other people live. Sorting out the problem. So Pom helps sort out the problem, or the adventure, if you like, because he's going to lead his friends on this journey. He's going to sort out a plan, and he's going to look after the other characters in the story. However, they're all going to look after each other as well. So, jumping quite quickly to the end, obviously there's going to be a lot that happens in between times, but every story needs an end. So we've got the main characters. What happens to the main character in the end of the story? Well, he's going to lead them all home safely. And then there's a suggestion here. What might your last line be? So, last line that I've chosen is travel certainly broadens the mind. So that is a shape now for my story. You might be able to hear some sound going on in the background. That's because we're at More Than Words. It's always busy. There's always a lot going on here. And there's always music. So I hope that you've enjoyed our little chat about how to complete some of these workshop templates. And if you don't get a chance to do these at home, then we will be looking at these in some of our activity days as well, and we might even be acting some of your stories out. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Ant, for recording.
You're welcome.
Bye bye for now.